Hi guys, it's Halloween season. Let me know if you celebrate Halloween where you are in the world. And because it is the pumpkins trick or treat season, it's the spookiest of all. Let's talk about the scariest thing I've dealt with while growing orchids. It could be the spookiest of them all, at least in my experience. After I tell you all of them, let me know if you've experienced any of the things that I'm listing here when you are growing your own orchids. And to pay homage to the season, I've showed you in the last video. This one is my mini Tolumnia, but it has lots of orange in it. And with a dark center that's very Halloweeny, if you wish for. It's my little pumpkin orchid now that it's in bloom at this moment. So this one is gonna be my co-host today. Let's start. So in the past 2 years, I've dealt with something that's for me is the scariest, the spookiest thing that I've encountered while growing orchids. That is, ta-da, thrips. Thrips is a tiny insect that munch, that sucks. So difficult to eradicate. I tried many natural methods. They didn't work. I lost many orchids due to thrips. And in the process, I got really stressed. A little bit down as well. Thrips took me down many times. I got a little bit desperate. That's why I'm listing thrips as the first one. Because honestly, they scare the hell out of me. So I finally managed to take them out of my collection. And this is due to stick pesticides that I bought. Unfortunately, they are not selling in the UK anymore. So I don't know what I'll have to do in the next season when it's spring. But for now, everything's under control and I'm so happy. But I have to list thrips as my number one. The number two is not as bad as the number one, but it scares me as well, especially when I notice that I have a massive oncidium and it is rootbound. Repotting rootbound oncidiums and oncidiums intergenerics, it is something else. I know that it's gonna be a very long reporting, that I have to be really careful, that I will lose many roots on the process, and it's gonna be a difficult one. That's why I'm listing this as the number two of the things that scares me the most. Have you experienced that before? I have one example here, 1 second. Don't know if you can see if this thing will in focus here. It's a massive one. I've repotted this orchid here. I don't know how long ago. It was rootbound and it has a massive root system, massive root system at the moment. And this is the type of orchid that scares me when I repot it. It's full of bark chips around, so they will be attached to this root. I'll have to soak it. I'll have to spend my time reporting these orchids when it's time. That's why I hope it fits on this spot for at least a year from now, because I don't want to deal with that this season. So anyway, let's go to the number three. The number three is pests in general. Are you scared of pests? How do you deal with your pests? I don't think all the pests scares as much as thrips do, but they do scare me because they affect my plants and sometimes they can multiplicate like that. And if I'm not keeping an eye on everything, like for instance, I have some spider mites that I didn't notice, and when I finally noticed, they were everywhere. So every time this happens, it's a whole thing around cleaning the leaves. And because I have so many orchids, it takes a while for me to make sure that I've been through my whole collection, that I've looked at everything. And while I'm in this process, the pests are multiplicating and they are munching on the structures of my plants. And I know that plants can have other issues like fungi, virus, They are scary as well, but I don't experience them as much as I experience insect infestations. That's why they scare me a lot. Number four, that scares me because it is a massive struggle and it was a massive struggle. Hopefully next year this one is going to be out of my list, but it still scares me a little bit. These are my Catayas. My Catayas losing their roots and their structures and sometimes simply withering off. My climate's not hot. Took me a while to understand how the Catayas work in my climate. That's very different from my seasons and intergenerics, and even my Phenopsis. So while I was figuring it out, I lost many Catayas. And every time that I see one of these creatures, it starts to lose the structures, having part of their structures being completely brownish, mushy, and then losing most of its root system. And I trying to save it, doing everything that I could in my power, and losing my plants. I got really, really sad. So it scares me until today. That's why every time I have a Cataya, I take very, very good care of them. I try to put them in the brightest spot and I avoid repotting them without any need. I only repot them when they are new orchids and they need to change their mix if they have any pests. And when I have a new growth sprouting that I know that will push out new roots. I know these are all very basic, but even following some of these rules, I managed to lose many, many Catayas. They started withering off and it made me really, really sad. So that's why this is on the list. I know that not everybody experienced that, but that happened to me a lot and I'm still waiting for many of these creatures to bloom because on top of that, thrips were munching all of the blooms of the healthy ones. So I have sheets, I have mature ones, and they have never bloomed for me. They were just a massive struggle, but I learned with them. So that's good. Ta-da! The next one, I don't know which number was. I'm sorry, but I have a good example here. This beauty I found in the supermarket for £5. Yay! And it's a yellow orchid with an orange center and it's truly yellow. It's not a green yellow. It's like yellow, like a warm yellow. I'm so happy. Anyway, so I'm showing you Phalaenopsis because Phalaenopsis are very easy to care for. They don't scare me. But you know what scares me the most? It's when I water my plants and maybe I'm in a rush or I'm doing something very, very fast and I split water everywhere on the structures, especially massive Phalaenopsis full of roots and leaves. And you know how it is? If we leave water trapped in between these leaves, these plants, they can have crown rot, root rot, they can have stem rot anyway. So I have to grab something and dry out leaf by leaf and be careful with the stems and make sure that the stem and the crown are completely dry. And it should be super fine to do that when you have 2 orchids, but when you are watering 200 orchids, that's when the problem starts because I'm usually when this happens is when I'm tired and I want to finish it quickly. That's why we shouldn't do things in a rush because we do the wrong thing. So having to water Phalaenopsis and split water everywhere and having to dry out carefully scares me because usually I don't have the whole time to spend doing it and it can take a while, especially if we have water that leaks from the shelving from above and goes in many Phalaenopsis. And yeah, then I have to take my time. I have to stop everything because I really like my Phalaenopsis. So this scares me as well. Not super serious, but yeah, it's definitely on my list. So let's go to the next one. The next one is, I put it here, some orchids. Some orchids, they definitely scare me. And I think I get really scared of the way that they grow or the fact that I cannot make them grow well. Catayas are growing well now. I had some blooms and so that's why I'm not talking about Catayas here. Although losing Catayas scared me because I lost so many. But I'm talking about other orchids. Which orchids are these? When why growing them scares me. So I will come with a few examples. The first one is a Miltoniopsis. I love Miltoniopsis. I love the pansy orchid flower. I love the fragrance. I think they are beautiful. I used to be very good with them, but since the thrips infestation, I discovered that not only they are sensitive to our care if you do things wrong, if you are not in the right environment. I don't think in my case is the environment. In my case, it was pests. They are pretty sensitive to pests. If you have pests in your collection, doesn't matter, thrips, spider mite, whatever, they will go to your Miltoniopsis. They will munch your Miltoniopsis down, and when you try to save them, they are not the most resilient orchids, so they won't bounce back very easily. And it's pretty sad because I love them, but I lost so many of them, and it made me question if I want to go through the hassle all over again, because it is a hassle. Let me show you something. That's a very good example. I don't know if you can see from there, but anyway, I have a new growth here. This one produced a very weird flower. It was attacked by thrips many times. It was a mysterious orchid. I had no idea that this was a Miltoniopsis until it bloomed. And I was treating for pests and start to lose the structure. That's how they start, always like that. So lost pseudobulbs, lost other pseudobulbs, lost leaves. Everything was rotting here. So now I have one pseudobulb that looks like the healthiest with a new growth, and then I have two pseudobulbs without any leaves. So this one is a very good example of a Miltoniopsis that is struggling. I need to repot immediately, and I need to try to save it. I have two others in my bedroom that also have been affected by pests, and I repotted them, but it takes them a while to recover. None of them are fully healthy yet, and I don't know if they will ever be or if I will lose them. So for this reason, growing them is scaring me, and they are not the only one. They are a very good example, but I have others. Melly Island, I had two. I lost both of them. I had the red one that I bought in France. It's gone. Got attacked by any pest that I had in here. Munched them down. I tried to save. It was gone. The last one was the same thing. It didn't push any more roots. It was very easy. They die quickly. So they are difficult orchids when they are not fully healthy, or if you have pests, don't even try. Also, Masdevallias, it's on my list here. I thought because I have an environment that's not very hot, it's humid, not that dry. I have a space where I don't turn the heating on. And I thought, oh, everything could be okay. Not really. They never performed amazingly, and some of them declined very quickly. I still have one, but figuring out how to grow them is quite difficult. And then I have the orchids that I have never even tried, like for example, Draculas, because they love the humidity and they are not very suitable for home growers. They need some specific conditions. And I'm scared that I will not be able to provide that, so I don't want to spend my money on something that I will not be able to keep alive. I'm not brave enough to try that, so these are the things that scares me the most. And to complete this video, the last one, and maybe some of you understand me, some maybe not. I am not a homeowner, so I rent this flat. And someday I may have to move, and I think I will move someday, and that scares me a lot. It's funny, I know, but first of all, I didn't have as many orchids as I have now when I first came to this flat. So now I have, yeah, a certain amount, certain number, I need to count them actually. It's been a long time since I last counted them, but my collection didn't grow, which is good because I lost orchids when I bought new orchids, so I think they balanced them out in terms of numbers. But look how amazing it is. Imagine if I decided to move. Moving to another country would be almost impossible, I think. I would have to prioritize some of these. But even if I decide to move here in the UK, having to pack everything, carry everything, and this scares me a little bit, a lot actually. I think from everything that I told you, that's the thing that scares me the most. Have you ever moved with your plant collection? I'd love to hear stories and let me know if you have some tips if this ever happens. It will happen someday. I don't have any date for now, but anyway, I found that I don't know how I'm gonna do it. That's the point. So it scares me a little bit, a lot. And that was everything. That was my top list of things that scares me while growing my orchids or while dealing with orchids. What's your list? What scares you the most? I hope this video was fun to watch. I hope you enjoy Halloween wherever you are in the world. If you don't celebrate Halloween, I hope at least have fun with these orchids and with your orchids, the ones in blooms, the ones that are recovering, because we learn a lot with them, right? And let me just grab my pumpkin, my little pumpkin, and let's celebrate winter that's coming around here, around this hemisphere, where everything will grow slower, we don't have to water our plants as much. There is some advantage to everything. And even so, we still have some blooms, right? If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye!